Welcome back everyone to another episode of the top 10 facts videos. Today we're going to be talking about Fallout. Fact number 1 is that there was originally supposed to be a surgery minigame. Survival elements have always played a huge part in Fallout games, with limited resources, unreliable weaponry, and a radiation mechanic. In Fallout 3 though, there was originally going to be a gritty addition that would have made stepping on random landmines even worse. During production, a surgery minigame was created, in which you had to cauterize and patch up particularly bad wounds. Unfortunately, the Bethesda team decided that the impromptu surgeries slowed down the pace a bit too much, and was cut from the final game. While this could have made for a great addition with regards to survival gameplay, it's easy to see how it might have been frustrating for a mainstream audience. Fact number 2 is that you can actually play as a caveman. In Fallout 3, stuff like your strength, intelligence didn't actually make a whole lot of a difference outside of skill checks, learning perks, and other purely mechanical aspects. The team behind Fallout New Vegas took the time to expand on this aspect though, with some hilariously ridiculous results. If you want a truly unique experience while navigating the Mojave wasteland, then try creating a character with just 1 point in their intelligence stat. As well as making your character terrible at science and medicine, they'll also be incapable of talking properly. While most of the NPCs you come across will treat you as if you're mentally deficient, many of the dialogue options are extremely funny, often consisting of just a few disconnected words and grunts. Fact number 3 is that there's an awesome respect shown to the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Continue what began in the first game, Fallout 2 contained a huge amount of brilliant hidden Easter eggs. The very best of all these was a reference to a memorable moment in a certain science fiction book by Douglas Adams. As part of a special encounter, it's possible to come across what appears to be a splattered whale that's caused indentations in the earth around it. Surrounded by blood and a pot of daisies, those not in the know might think that this was a wildly random occurrence. In fact, it's a direct nod to a passage from the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, in which the infinite improbability drive transformed 2 nuclear missiles into a surprise sperm whale and a barrel of petunias. Fact number 4 is that you can actually tip Brahmin cows. In Fallout 2, Fallout Tactics, and Fallout 3, and also Fallout New Vegas, it's possible to go around Brahmin tipping. In the modern games, it's possible to do this by pressing the activate button on an unsuspecting Brahmin while your weapons are holstered and pressing activate. The Brahmin will then collapse before standing upright after a few moments. In New Vegas, the act counts towards the knocked up challenge. Fact number 5 is that Harold has been in almost every game in the series, from being an FEV mutated freak to a mutant with a sapling growing out of his cracked head. Harold finally ended up being just a face in a fully grown tree by the time Fallout 3 rolled around. Making an appearance in Fallout, Fallout 2, Fallout 3, and Fallout Brotherhood of Steel, Harold features in more games in the series than any other character, unless you count in the dulcet tones of Ron Perlman. His final appearance, both in the games and canonically, is with the tree minders in a capital wasteland, where he's either left to forever to live within a mobile tree, or killed out of mercy by the player character. Fact number 6 is that the Fallout 3 cover was also the game's first piece of concept art. The Fallout series has always been very strong aesthetically. The dark gritty art style combined with the often upbeat soundtracks makes for an unforgettable atmosphere that is totally unique to the franchise. Because of this, it was imperative that Bethesda managed to get the art for Fallout 3 exactly right. Although a lot of the time went into producing the game's look and feel, it turns out the team started with a very clear idea of what they wanted. One of the most iconic pieces to come out of the game's production is that of the Brotherhood of Steel, famous for featuring on the front cover of the game's box. Interestingly, this was the first piece of Fallout 3 concept art ever, created by lead artist Istvan Pelly way back in 2004. Fact number 7 is that the most destructive weapon is based on a real rifle. The Fallout series is packed with silly weapons that couldn't possibly exist in real life, from sci-fi ray guns to mechanical gauntlets powered by jet engines. Possibly the most destructively memorable of those is the Fat Man, a weapon that fires a mini nuke that deals massive damage, and it makes it very easy to harm yourself instead of an enemy. Terrifyingly, the Fat Man is actually based on a real weapon. The M2829 or Davy Crockett was a rifle capable of firing an M388 projectile. For non-military buffs, an M388 is essentially a mini nuke. Despite being one of the smallest nuclear weapons ever built, the Davy Crockett was still capable of huge amounts of destruction, and acts as a reminder that sometimes truth is scarier than fiction. Fact number 8 is that the wrecked cars are actually based on the Ford Nucleon. Fallout fans haven't been able to drive around the wasteland in any of Bethesda's games yet, without the use of modern tools. That doesn't stop the developers from taunting players about this fact though, with the capital wasteland of Fallout 3 being scattered with hundreds of distinctive car husks. The red cars might look like something you only see in a science fiction, or at some of the most hardcore conventions, but it's actually based on a concept car developed by the Ford Motor Company. The car's looks are almost identical to those seen in game, and the original idea of the Ford Nucleon was that it would have been a steam engine powered by uranium fission, much like a nuclear submarine. Unfortunately, depending on how you look at it, the Ford Nucleon never progressed beyond having the scale model built. Fact number 9, some of you may know this, but the voice actor for Benny was actually voiced by Matthew Perry from Friends. One of the more memorable Fallout villains, Benny helped to kick off New Vegas with a bang, after shooting the player character during the game's opening moments. What you might not have known is that Benny's oddly familiar voice belongs to Friends star Matthew Perry, sounding quite a bit different from his time as Chandler Bing. It turns out Mr. Perry was a big fan of Fallout 3, even going so far as to give a copy of the game to Ellen DeGeneres' Haunted Chat show. Bethesda and Obsidian took notice of this, eventually leading to this landing of the role of Benny in New Vegas. Other famous voices that have appeared in the Fallout series include Liam Neeson as the player's father, Richard Dean Anderson as Killian Darkwater, Zoe Bell as multiple characters, and Danny Trejo as Raul the Jedi. And fact number 10 is that a drug was actually censored. Of all the outdoor content in the Fallout series, possibly the most controversial has been the franchise's use of drugs as a gameplay mechanic. While the games have highlighted the dangers of using drugs by featuring the possibility of becoming addicted, negative side effects and all, certain senators and groups were predictably unhappy with Fallout 3 Chem Use. Most of the Chem names have become iconic, such as the infamous Psycho, that many in-game NPCs have an addiction to. Fallout 3 was outright rejected by the Australian censors, thanks to the game's use of morphine. News soon emerged that every version of the game would be affected by a change due to the harsh censorship, angering fans everywhere. The result ended up feeling more in keeping with the Fallout universe though. With morphine being changed to the far chirpier Med X, every other drug in the series up to Fallout 3 had made up names, so this could be considered as one of the only examples of censor actually improving the artistic vision of the game. And that's pretty much it for this top 10 video. Hopefully you all learned something new, and yeah, that's pretty much it. If you have any new suggestions for a future video idea, just leave them in the comments below. And yeah, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.